Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to start the chapter 1 GST from the book Understanding Mathematics by M.L. Aggarwal of class 10. So first we will discuss what is GST. GST means it's a goods and service tax. It is an indirect tax levied on the supply of goods and services. But before GST, in India, there were many taxes like customs duty, excise duty, etc. And later on, government has decided to merge all these taxes into GST. Now all over India, we have only one tax system, that is GST. GST was introduced on July 1st, 2017. Then we have three types of GSTs. That means three types of taxes coming under GST. The first one is CGST, that is Central Goods and Service Tax. This tax will go to the central government. And the second one is SGST. If it is an union territory, we can say it as UTGST. That means SGST means State Goods and Service Tax, and UTGST means Union Territories Goods and Service Tax. So when we are talking about the state, we will say it as SGST, and if we are talking about a union territory, we will say it as UGST. UTGST. Okay. This tax also will go to the state government. Then third one is IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax. This tax will go for the central government. Okay. When we have to apply CGST, SGST, IGST, that we have a confusion. No? When we have to apply. So there are some rules. That means when we are applying that, so for that we have two rules. That is, one is intra-state sales and another one is interstate sales. So what is an intrastate sale? If it is within the state, that means if a dealer is purchased an item from Kerala and he is selling in that item in Kerala itself, so we can say it as an intrastate sales, intrastate sale. That means within the same state. There we are considering as intrastate transactions, intrastate sale. That means within the same state. That means if we are purchasing some item from Kerala and we are distributing it in, that means we are selling it in Kerala itself, means we can say it as an intrastate sale. Then next is interstate sale. So what is interstate sale? If a dealer is purchasing an item from one state and it is selling to another state, suppose for example from Kerala to Tamil Nadu. In this case we are using IGST. That means here the whole tax will go to the central government. So IGST, central government tax. So I think it is clear. Okay, the next in this chapter we will go through input tax. That means input GST and output GST. So what is an input GST? Input GST means GST paid by the dealer. That means when a dealer purchases something, at that time he has to pay some GST, no? So that GST is known as input GST. That means when a dealer will purchase something, at that time he has to pay GST. So that is known as input GST, that is paid by the dealer. So what is output GST? Output GST means it is collected by the dealer. That means when a dealer will collect GST from a customer, that is output GST. That is when GST obtained when a dealer sells to the customer. Okay. These are the few things we have to keep in mind while doing the problems. And we know GST is an indirect tax. We are familiar with the two taxes. Which are the two taxes? That is, one is direct tax and second one is indirect tax. So GST will comes under indirect tax. That means direct taxes are what we are paying as income tax, no? So that are paid by ourselves. So that is known as a direct tax. So GST is an indirect tax. And tax is calculated on the selling price. That means if marked price and discount is given, means usually we are calculating with the selling price. Otherwise tax is calculated on the marked price itself. So if discount is given, means it will be calculated with the selling price. So we can say that tax will always be applied on selling price. Okay, next we can go with the exercise. We can start question number 1. An article is marked at rupees 15,000. A dealer sells it to a consumer at 10% profit. If the rate of GST is 12%, find the selling price excluding tax of the article. And the second one, the amount of tax under GST paid by the consumer. And third question is the total amount paid by the consumer. Okay, so given marked price is equal to 15,000 and profit percentage is given as 10% and GST is given as 12%. Here we are considering it as intrastate transaction because it is not specified there. So we can take it as intrastate transaction. So profit is given as 10% means what will be the profit? Marked price is 15,000. So profit we can write it as 10% of 15,000. Okay. So 10 by 100 into 15,000. So it will be rupees 1,500. So what will be the selling price excluding the tax? So it will be marked price plus 10% of market price. That means selling price will be market price we have and 10% of selling price is what they have given a profit of 10%. So profit we got it as 1,500. So marked price plus 1,500. So marked price we have in our question as what? 15,000 plus 1,500. So it will be what? 16,500 rupees will be the selling price excluding the tax. That is our first part. Next we can go to the second question, second part of this question. Next we have to find out the amount of tax under GST paid by the consumer. So selling price of the dealer is 16,500. So cost price of the consumer will be 16,500. He is selling. So the cost price will be 16,500 for the consumer and 16,500 will be the selling price of the dealer. We have to find out the amount of tax paid by the consumer. So they are giving a GST of 12%. So what will be the amount of tax paid by the consumer? It will be 12% of what? 16,500. Okay. So amount of tax paid by the consumer will be 12% of 16,500, which is equal to what? 12 by 100 into 16,500. So it will be rupees 1980. So 1980 will be the amount of tax paid by the consumer under GST. Then we can do question number 3 of third part of this question. Third part is the total amount paid by the consumer. So total amount paid by the consumer means it will be what? Selling price plus GST. So what will be the selling price? Selling price is 16,500. Total amount paid by the consumer. Consumer has to pay what? That means 16,500 plus this GST also. So it will be 18,480. So 18,480 will be the total amount paid by the consumer. Okay. Second question. A shopkeeper buy goods worth rupees 4,000 and sells these at a profit of 20% to a consumer in the same state. If GST is charged at 5%, find the selling price excluding tax of the goods. Second one, CGST paid by the consumer. Third one is GST paid by the consumer. Fourth, the total amount paid by the consumer. So given the cost price of the shopkeeper is given as 4,000, CP is given as 4,000 and a profit of 20%. So profit percentage is given as 20%. So profit will be what? Profit is equal to 20% of 4,000. Okay, so it will be 20 by 100 into 4,000. So it will be 800 rupees profit. So what will be the selling price? Selling price of the shopkeeper will be what? Selling price is equal to that cost price plus profit, which is equal to 4,000 plus 800, which is equal to 4,800. 4,800 will be the selling price of the goods excluding the tax. That is our first part. Next we want to find out the CGST paid by the consumer. Since it is an transaction is within the same state, so we have to take half of that GST. So given GST is 5%, so 2.5% will go to the state government and 2.5% will go to the central government. That means we have to find out CGST and SGST. So what will be the CGST paid by the consumer? So CGST in percentage form is what? 2.5%. So CGST paid by the consumer, second part, CGST paid by the consumer will be, we already discussed that tax is applicable only with the selling price. So we are discussing with the selling price only. So 2.5% of what will be the CGST? CGST will be what? 2.5% of the selling price. That means tax will always be applied on selling price. Selling price is 4,800. So CGST will be 2.5% of 4,800. That is 2.5 by 100 into 4,800. So cancel this. It will be 2.5 into 48, which is equal to rupees 120. And same case for SGST also. Third part is SGST paid by the consumer. CGST and SGST both are 2.5%. So same thing only. So here third parties, yes, GST also will be what? Same 2.5% of 4,800. So SGST also will be rupees 120. Okay. Then the fourth part is total amount paid by the consumer. So what will be the total amount paid by the consumer? It will be the selling price plus CGST plus SGST. So total amount paid by the consumer will be, total amount will be what? Total amount will be what? SP plus CGST plus SGST. So which is equal to 4,800 plus 120 plus 120. So it will be 5,040 rupees. 5,040 rupees. Okay, thank you.